Hello, boys. How we all doing?
Not too
Not bad, mate,
bad.
yourself?
Aye, all good.
I've just came off YouTube, man. I had the YouTube what it was like for Hearts to concede goals, man. It felt like ages ago since we've conceded a goal. 10 games in a row. Craig Gordon extends his club record as Hearts ease past Stirling Albion 2-0. There we go. Easy. End of reaction. See you all later. Thanks for joining.
It's brilliant. Craig Gordon left Celtic to get 10 in a row, eh?
I know he's got it. He's finally got it. Aye, cool. Obviously, welcome back to This Is My Story podcast. As we've said last week in the pod, we're going to try and commit to doing live reactions to every game that we can this season. And also we'll do our normal Tuesday podcast and hopefully have some exciting interviews in amongst the club over the coming weeks. So everybody, how are we doing, Brads? What's been happening?
Good, mate. Just more golfing. Can't complain. It's a good life now.
Yep.
Beautiful weather. Get out on the course. It's all good.
Sorry, on. Shanks, how's your day been? Good contribution. Tam, what have you been saying to it?
And just working in this sweatbox that is my room at the moment. So, aye.
Nice. Kev?
Aye, all good. It's feels like only a couple of days since we actually spoke to each other.
I'm sick of you, man. Actual
Aye.
sick of it. Actual sick of it. And for the first time in podcast history, live from a hospital bed. What's happening, Craig? How are we?
No, sorry to disappoint you. I'm not in my bed. I've come to a different room.
All right, okay.
To keep away from everyone. So,
Didn't
but still live from the hospital. But yeah, all good. Thanks for having me on.
No bother, my man. You get kicked out for shouting and swearing watching Hearts struggle to beat Stirling?
Where I kept relatively quiet for the game, but I thought when I'm talking about them after, I thought a bit better to get room so no one hears it.
Aye, because normally you'd have John Suter and Peter Haring either side of you. Because they must be regulars in the hospital, aren't they? Aye. So as we said, we'll look over Hearts to Stirling Albion. No, it'll literally just be a discussion about how good Finlay Pollock is, and then how shite the League Cup is, and then we'll probably just move on. So Shanks has done detailed notes for the first time in his whole entire life, and then hasn't bothered to show up to the live reaction. I don't know if you could sum up Shanks anymore, it's probably that, innit?
Just before we actually went live and before you joined the call, Corbett, so obviously we've been watching the game along in prep for this, so obviously doing our research, and we were watching Shanks take notes, and he showed us his actual podcast notepad from last season, and he was flicking through a couple of pages of it, and all it is just him drawing little cartoon pictures of him knifing you in the chest, pretty much, or avatars of you. That's more or less all it is. So I think he's probably away composing another one.
Wrote, I love Liam Corbett on that 100 times and scored it out.
Well, there was,
funny enough, on the other page he wrote
in
Tam's
bright
a
green
wank,
letters,
so-
it's the best thing ever.
So, aye, as you said, probably start from the start. I'm guessing until people come in, or if no one comes in, that's probably the closest to the strongest starting 11 that we have. Agreed?
Aye, there
No.
are bits.
I did agree to you prior to the game, but I'm not so sure now.
Well, look, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. The job was done. We know what it was like last season in the League Cup. These are pre-season friendlies. Do you know what I mean? That is basically what they are. And to be honest, it's kind of what you want for Hearts, isn't it? You kind of want them to, if they play shit but still win, that's always a kind of a good sign. So Gordon in goals, then we had the back three. We're saying it's a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, whatever way you want to look at it. But Gordon in goals, you got back three of Suter, Halkett, and Kingsley. That's right, isn't it?
Aye.
Yep. And then the midfield four, we have Haring and Halliday. Probably, but the only thing I don't think probably worked overall is sort of two defensive-minded midfielders in there. But I understand when you've got basically four up front, you need to have that kind of that shield there. But I don't know sure that the night they had the best game going by the reports that I've seen so far. Then we had Smith and the young lad Cochrane. And then the front three, Ginnelly, is that what they were calling him?
Did you hear that at the start? What an absolute embarrassment. So, Ginnelly, who was the other one? Popescu, and he made an absolute rip-roaring arsehole as another one of our players, I can't think who. But
Nando.
That was
Must
it.
have
It was
been
They
Nando.
Nando.
decided to call
Aye,
Nando
that's it.
He was
Ginelli
calling
afterwards as well.
Nando Ginelli, was he not?
Generally.
Yeah, brilliant. Just took a stab, didn't he? He's no idea
Amateur
that.
hour.
I know, we'll just call him that. We'll just call him that. But the front three boys, Gary Mackay-Steven and Ginelli, who I don't want to be too bullish, but will be the best front three in Scotland this season. Absolutely. Gary Mackay-Steven, Ballon d'Or, 100%. It's happening. So I think that's pretty much the strongest starting 11 for me. I would, like I said there, if I was to make any changes now, Haring and Halliday I don't think can play together. Any thoughts on that, Craig? What's your thoughts on that?
I think I'd agree. I think we need something in the middle of the park that's more creative than what we have. Watching it tonight, and I said before, that's the first time I've seen the other two League Cup games, but I don't think we really created that much, which for me is a worry when you're playing teams leagues below you. And we've got Celtic in a week, and if we're not creating against Stirling Albion, are we going to create anything against Celtic? Which
it's a fair
was
point.
a bit worrying. And then at a kind of different point, they had a couple. I know they only had a couple of chances. I think the first very early in the game, BK had a chance, and then Dale Carrick had a chance. And my worry is, I think we need another centre half. I don't want to single players out, but I'm not confident in having Craig Halkett at the back, especially now we're up in the Premiership. So that's my main concern from watching that tonight, which is maybe harsh because I don't think Halkett really done that much wrong, but I guess based on last season, that would be my two concerns in the pitch.
And to be honest with you, they're good call-outs. It's stuff we've spoke about before on here as well. There's something about Craig Halkett that I want to like, but can he? If you know what I mean? Like I think I like quite a bit about him. I like that the way he talks about Hearts. You can tell that he gets the club and sort of loves the club and all that sort of stuff, and what he's done for Zal. Understand that I get it, but I think it's only amplified even more that when Suter's back, at just how poor he can be. Positional play. He does that really annoying thing where he steps out to try and win balls needlessly high up the park and then leaves us either like one-on-one at the back if he doesn't get there or whatever. So yeah, I'd be surprised if we are in talks, as we're led to believe we are, to bring in players. I'd be shocked if one of them wasn't a centre back. Again, strange one. Before we come to the game, what's your thoughts on? This is to everybody as well, about McAneff as well, because obviously he's kind of flattered to deceive in a Hearts jersey so far. He's in flashes he's been great, and others he's been sort of a bit poor. And you look at he's been kept out of the team by Haring and Halliday. Does that concern you going forward? Do you think it's just settling in, or is it? Do you think eventually it'll come good? What's your thoughts?
I'll jump in here. I think just exactly the point that Craig was probably making there, that it's probably a positional thing. He probably wants to play forward, and you can't sacrifice one of those two centre mids if you're playing with a front four. So I think it's just you've got to look at the positional sense there. If we do get caught in a fast counter, Haring or Halliday would quite easily fit into that back four. With McAneff, no chance. It's too wee. He wants to press on, so I think it's a positional thing. I think he needs to get a bit more game time. Obviously, as we know with Robbie, the shape will change every 20 minutes or so in a game. So there will be opportunities for that. But just now, if we're playing the way we are, he doesn't fit into that system quite as fluently as the other two do.
That is a bit of a worry. But to be fair, he's young. Like you said, he's learning the Scottish game type thing. So you're hoping that, but in the sort of, especially in Tynecastle and fans and all that, you're hoping that when he does get the opportunity that he sort of takes it, because again he's one of those players that we've been desperate for a box to box midfielder for probably since Paul Hartley left, to be honest with you. So kind of been desperate for that. Shanks, what's been happening? We're coming to you for all of the in-depth knowledge of the 90 minutes, because you were the one that took all of the notes. So we've just spoke about the starting 11. Do you want to rhyme off who was in your starting 11? Did you have the same as us? Or
I had the usual starting 11.
Can you remember it?
Gordon, Kingsley, Suter, Halkett, Smith, Cochrane. I fucked already.
No,
Halkett
you're
was
doing
in.
well. You're doing well.
I see. Yeah,
Haring, Gino, GMS, Boyce, and Halliday.
Well done.
yeah, mate. Well
Well
done.
done.
10.
He's actually
Craig,
got.
you'll
he's
come
actually-
to learn that I'm the butt of most jokes on this podcast, so it's nothing new here.
So I might as well dive into the game then. So first minute they almost score. So then anything more hearts than that? You know, if we spent an hour before kick-off talking about how this is the strongest starting 11, this is how we'll start the season, and then boom, 2 seconds in, Bikey runs one-on-one with Gordon, and
Right,
should
I'm
do better.
calling you out
But-
here because you always do this, right? If we don't run up the park and nearly score in the first 10 seconds, you are total toys at the pram. No, that's it. We're absolutely garbage shite. And you know what? I do
Yep.
tend to agree with you slightly, but we know, and we spoke about this the other day, is that we do start incredibly slow. And we said this when we were in the stadium last week as well. It's just a common Hearts thing, isn't it? So I don't think there's anything to be worried about. If we'd lost a goal in the first minute, that'd be me. I'd be rage quit, headset off, away home. But aye, we need to improve the starts. Definitely agree.
Aye, we do. Especially when let's all jokes aside. I know they've drawn tonight, and they've been the butt of the joke for a while now in Scottish football because of their fall from grace or whatever. But let's not beat around the bush. Celtic are still a decent team. Do you know what I mean? They've got good players. They've got internationals. They've got internationalists. They've got quality all over the park. That doesn't mean that they'll show up or whatever. But you know, Craig's right to highlight it. We're giving away chances to the opposition, like Stirling Albion. We gave the one where just before Halliday scored against Cove as well. You know, the boys chipped Gordon and Mikey Smith's cleared it off the line. Their opportunities in the better league now, that when we can't take that risk, we can't start games slow because we are going to play against teams that will be able to punish us. So, Kev.
The thing is, and we've spoke about this a number of times, though, what are the chances of actually going with that same formation into the game next week against Celtic? You know perfectly well that we've played that this 3-5, whatever you want to call it, 3-2-2, and next thing you know, we'll change it straight back to a back five. It'll be a 5-5-1 next week if you know. That's just the way Nielsen is, and I know he's wanting to give this impression of be a little bit more adventurous this season, be a little bit more creative, and I think Craig's exactly nailed it. Is that we've not had a creative midfielder for a number of seasons. I can't even remember the last time we actually had a proper creative midfielder. So it's definitely something that needs to be looked at. I think we've all said, even though the past couple of years we needed pace, but at least we've brought Ginnelly in. He's got a bit of pace, and you can maybe say that GMS has got a bit of pace about him as well. But we're still missing that. But I don't think we'll play a back three next week against Celtic, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I think we will. This feels different. Maybe it's just because it's the close season or whatever, and things have been different. But I don't know. It feels slightly different this time. The fact that we've been playing our strongest 11s and all that sort of stuff, in and out of the League Cup games, I don't think we'll change against Celtic. Shanks, what's your thoughts on the first half? You're the one, so talk us through what happened in the first half. What stood out for you? What did you like?
So I made toast with scrambled eggs and tomato sauce, and I liked it. And I never seen any of the first half.
I was going to say, can I just ask, how long did it actually take you to make those scrambled eggs on toast?
Well, caring for a small child is it takes up a lot of time. So yes, I've done is I've missed the entire game. And see the goal. So I've got in-depth notes of 3 bullet points that I will get to in the second half.
Right.
Move on.
So when you say see the goal, what was the score?
2-0. So I've just checked on live scores. 2-0.
Right.
So fuck you, Tam.
So we'll go to someone else for detailed analysis of the first half. Who wants to take a stab at talking about the first half? Then?
I'll just catch up. But this isn't a stab at the first half. It's just a couple of comments that have come in the YouTube feed because we are live after all. Amoruso lets it run just on some of the points that have been raised already. McInnes looks as if he's being asked to come deeper and set temp. In games rather than, I thought I'd misread that, rather than be the box-to-box midfielder that he felt we were getting. James McLennan saying McInnes would have been better starting than Halliday. Also, Haring just isn't at the races at the moment. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt though, as he's not long back from a long-term injury. And that's about it. There's some people chatting back and forwards, but that's pretty much the contribution we've had on the YouTube so far. So over for first half recap. Whoever's taking that.
I can go for that.
Go then.
To be honest, it was just the usual case. As you said, we started slowly. Boyce obviously with a good finish for the goal. To be honest with you, see when you were watching that through what was filmed on a potato, it was quite hard to tell what actually happened in the first half. So thankfully it changed in the second half. But to be fair, there were 3 good chances. GMS had a good chance. Smith pulled shot for the keeper to have a good save, and there was a bit of stramash, as Kev described it, where Boyce should have tapped it in. So yeah, but I thought the front 3 in the first half looked really lively. Defensively, we were a bit shaky at times, but as you said earlier, the front 3 they'll just win the Ballon d'Or collectively. Actually,
they're just all 3. They just get to all 3 of them. And to be fair, I said you shared the picture in a group chat, and I'm like, if you're a professional football player and you're playing there was a fucking wheel, there was a tyre at the side of the park. One of the clips somebody showed about how rubbish is this stream. There was a set of goals like 2 feet for the corner flag. And I was like, what is happening here? Is this just like doing the pitch with your pals where you're just playing football? Imagine being a professional football player and having to go play your football there.
To be honest, see on that first half with this stream, one of the balls actually went into one of the goals on the side, and I thought there was a goal at one point.
Really?
I was just barely paying attention. I was like, "What's going on here? I've missed a goal."
Gino's got a hat trick.
Let's talk.
Sorry, just to interrupt. But we think, Craig, you're on mute. I hate to be the guy that does this, but there you go. If you've been saying anything, we've not been able to hear you, and I cannot unmute you remotely. So you're back now.
Sorry, I think when I lost connection and then when I came back on it
well done. No worries though.
Yeah,
cool, charge on.
Sorry, you've not missed anything anyway. So might as well talk about it because he scored again. I always like talking about Boyce because it's the first time for a long time I felt like we've got a player. Obviously, we've got Craig Gordon today, but we've got a player that is genuinely like top notch. And he scores goals. He never stops running. Links play well. I know we're all joking, but if him, Giannelli, and GMS can strike a partnership, we're going to be absolutely golden.
Keep your hands off him, Corbett. He's mine. I liked him first, right? So didn't you get any ideas? But nah, totally agree.
But we'll go to Craig. Craig, what's your overall thoughts on Liam Boyce? Have you been impressed with him? Do you like him in the team?
Yeah, I think he's definitely, when you watch him, he just stands out. I think movement, touch, I think everything just shows I'm not saying head and shoulders above the rest, but you can see he's got that wee bit extra quality. I think if we can get the service to him this season, then I'd like to think, I don't know what you guys are thinking on where we're going to finish this season, but essentially we seem to have the same, looks like we'll have the same squad going in to the start of the season, which, we won the championship by a few points, but I wasn't convinced in many of the performances. I know we're winning games, so my worry is that squad in the Premiership, how we'll do. But I think if we can get service to him, then he's going to score goals. And I guess the worry is if he gets injured. I know I don't want to be negative, but if he does get injured, I'm not sure who's going to replace him. I know Nandili came on, and watching him, he had a good touch. He linked up with Boyce in the box in the second half, but I didn't see much else. That's maybe being harsh watching him for.
No, I think we've had the same call out with Nando as well. And to be honest, last season, as much as he looked a bit cumbersome, is probably the nicest way to say it. He had loads. but he had loads of goal contributions. He scored, he had assists and all that sort of stuff, which is good. So you're hoping that, that is always the worry with Hearts in it, is you know that somebody important is going to get injured at some point this season. It's just what happens with Hearts, and it's what do we do?
Yeah.
What do we do to we have that can come in? So yeah, it's a good call. Anything else first half caught your eye?
Well, I think going back to, I guess with McAneff as well, but the few I only seen him a few games last season, but when he got the ball, he was sort of one of the only midfield players that looked to pass forward. And if you watch a lot of it tonight, it's kind of sideways, and there was a few times people tried to break the line with a pass, but I didn't think it was that often. I think that's how we're going to break down teams. I know you've got Mackay, Stephen, and generally out wide and stuff, but for me, McAneff, if he gets a chance, I think he'll be that player that will look to play the ball forward as opposed to passing it to fullback and back and forth. So I do hope he gets a chance because I think he could be a good player for us.
Yeah, same. And like you said, it's what sometimes I go through this where I can't make up my mind if it's the players that just revert to type when they're doing that, or if that's a tactic from Hearts. Do you know what I mean? The sort of take a touch pass, take a touch pass. All of our best stuff comes when we miss that person out and go straight to the wide player, or we play a first time pass or a layoff or a pass around the corner, and that's where we create most of our chances. But again, you think without getting into the pure pedantics of football, that's you're playing against a part-time football team. You work them side to side, you make them run, you make them thingy, and then just by absolute the fact that they're part-time football players, they're going to run out of legs. You're going to make your spaces. But I do agree, it's a good point about McAneff as well. That's pretty much it for the first half. When it, like you said, Tam, last 5 minutes after the goal, where the wee flurry, a few chances, there was one off the line and that sort of stuff for Gary Mackay-Stephen or something went there as well, and then there was a decent chance for GMS. Was that second half? Anyway, doesn't matter. Finish one.
Second half, but
it's fine. We'll come and cover it. I'm sure Shanks has this in his bullet points for the second half, so we'll come to that in a second. That was pretty much it in first half.
And just on that, you're getting kudos, Shanks, from Andy Dixon. He says, well done for writing down 3 bullet points. You're super in depth. So keep that good work up.
Cheers, Andy. You're obviously new to this podcast. That's
even
fairly highbrow for me.
And he wins every conundrum in Shanks McCann that there's ever been. So
he's definitely not new.
Well, we might as well take a break in talking about the game till you can explain your talk behind us, Shanksy, for the people that are thinking about.
I'll just move.
So that is, as we've said on the podcast in episode 50, we are trying to promote get 26 round Tynecastle this season. So if you're thinking about getting names and numbers on the top, please get 26 in your name. I've tried to be a bit different because I'm quite a strange chap, and I've gone with Kapitonas, which is captain in Lithuanian. So that's me. That's what.
Nice. Kind of looks like Tam would try and spell captain anyway.
Fair play.
Nice touch. Nice touch. Well played, Shanks. That's a nice touch. Right, the floor is yours. Second half. How many changes did they make? Any changes at half time? Change shape? What's your thoughts on the second half, Shanks? Points out. Come on, quick. Set you up.
So in the 63rd minute, Gino was ploughing forward, and Mikey Smith was on his right shoulder, and he played it left, and it was rubbish, and I was furious. And then Kingsley did a pish free kick. And I've got another 3 bullet points, but I'll save those because you might want to summarise the
they were for Cove Rangers.
We beat Hibs 3-1. So yeah, I don't know. I'm mixed. But there was bits in that you'll probably get on it in the full half summary. Souters we missed with 1 yard out was particularly frustrating, although I thought it was a Roy Carroll over the line. I thought Haring again disappointing. His headers well off the mark at corners. Just, he's better than that. Halliday had a bit of a mazy run through, which was good. And then obviously it was good to see the two young boys linking up for the goal. Again, I thought Pollock was influential when he came on, so aye, positive on that front.
Yeah, good. Well, we might as well. It's what we've been talking about all last season. Is what we want to talk about it.
So,
You want to talk about young guys.
sorry, I need to come in. Amoruso lets it run. Says, to be fair to Shanks, it was a pish free kick. So I had to chime in with that. Carry on. Sorry.
There you
go. Got a corner though, I think.
So we'd been screaming out for it all last season. You want to see young guys get into the team. You want to see young guys play well. And every game we've seen so far, Finlay Pollock has been absolutely dynamite, hasn't he?
Yep.
He looks the absolute real deal. Yep. So who's he going out and loan to the Mora?
Stenhousemuir, probably.
It's happening, isn't it? I don't know why we're talking about it. He's going to. Absolutely. He'll play absolutely amazing against Celtic, and then he'll leave on loan in the last day of the transfer window to German Bundesliga.
I reckon Hearts of last year and the years previously that might have been the case, but obviously as we were having a wee chat with Joe Savage last week, and if you've not watched it already, go back and watch it. And there you go, professional at this shit now. Go back and watch it. As a riveting interview, but obviously some of the bits that weren't recorded, there was quite a lot of chat about Finlay Pollock, and I don't see him going anywhere this season. I reckon he's going to be one of the ones that if we can punt as much as possible, if he plays well, we could get a decent price tag for him. That was just my overall thoughts on the chat we had with Savage last week.
Maybe he's the box-to-box player we need.
Well, I was just about to say, Tam, that we seem a bit of a difference in him. Where Cove Rangers, we spoke about it before, but me and Brad spoke about it at the game as well. It was like clear that he's been asked to basically get involved in absolutely everything. So all the moves were going through him, but he was also being demanded to like track runners, get back, break up play, and start the moves again. When he came on today, I thought he played in a sort of different role because he was very attacking. He had shots. I think he had 2 or 3 shots before he even scored his goal. He was a bit more direct. He was either raging with Chris Sutton, or he just thought, right, that's it. Like, I'll play a bit further forward. But he's been really impressive, And he's only about 17 or something.
I just turned 17 as well.
Just turned 17. That's what, Craig. That's being a Hearts fan. That's what you want to see in it. That's what clubs like Hearts are all about, or what we've been sort of famous for. Is
I think, yeah.
On you go,
I agree completely about. We've had this academy that's supposed to be producing all these great young players, and a few have come through, but they always just seem to die away. My frustrating thing, which I've tweeted about a few times, is in the past 4 or 5 years, the turnover of players is just ridiculous. How many we sign, and you always see the successful teams that win stuff will maybe change 3 or 4 players, but just to freshen things up. Whereas I think someone's certainly put something out about how many players we've signed and stuff over the last 3-4 years, and it's just you can't get any consistency. So I think if we're not going to be signing players, then certainly bringing these youngsters through and freshen the team up, and if people are getting comfortable, then it kind of keeps them on their toes. We have to change from, and whilst I think we do need to sign a couple, I'm glad we're not going out and signing 6, 7, 8 players and hoping one of them kind of turns out good.
Again, something that echoed with Joe Savage is what he was saying as well, was basically, but it's 9 to 8 players we've signed in 7 years, which is crazy. Yeah. It's 14 players a transfer window, basically, which is a starting 11 and 3 subs. That's just crazy. For continuity, for players, for styles and formations and all that. You're right. The best teams have basically a nucleus of the same team. They just add and freshen it up every now and again. They don't change too much. So, but like you said, the good thing, and what I think we missed last year in some of the games, was a bit of vibrancy when young boys come on, and that, like you said, having a shot, taking a man on, trying something a bit different. You've got seasoned pros that know, right, there's 10 minutes to go, it's 1-0, we're away, it's at Stirling, it's sticky. you didn't want to be giving away the ball away and get hit on a counter or a set play or something. So you want to try and keep the ball, and then you've got a young guy coming on thinking, I want to score. Like I need to make an impression. I want to play. I want to stay. And I think you noticed that as soon as he came on, it gave us a little bit of a spark. Like
I think just one more point. I think maybe, like you're saying there, the young players come on and want to try stuff, take people on and take that shot, which might be a good thing, not having a full house at Tynecastle when these boys come on and do it, and you're not having
booing them.
Fucking boo. So, as much as we want crowds back, maybe that's good for their confidence. They keep trying, and they're not going to get 18,000 folk on their back, which, as much as we don't like it to happen, it does. But
I think. Sorry, man.
No, I think if we get these young players coming through, it's what I think is what we should be doing. So hopefully there's more to follow.
Yeah, exactly. Brad, what you gonna say?
Absolutely. I think it's just echoing that point, is that I think for far too long we've been allowing boys to stagnate in the middle of the park. I think there's been nobody pushing them, there's been nobody driving them on. Like, these boys didn't look out of place. That should be the bit between the teeth, and they're coming on, they're absolutely driving at it. That should be putting a rocket up the arse of Peter Haring. Your position's no safe. Andy Halliday, you should be working as hard as these boys. And it looked like, with the Cove game anyway, it looked like Halliday was rejuvenated. But we want to see that. I want to see Gino and GMS being told, by the way, your position's no safe. Connor Smith's absolutely running a riot out there every training day. So I want to see a lot more boys being pushed for their position, and they're not safe. By the way, I'll drop you in a minute for this young laddie because you're not working hard enough. Because I think Hearts for too long have allowed players to stagnate, and that's killed any momentum that we've ever had. So fingers crossed this is a big push going forward.
Just some questions from the YouTube. So Connor Slavin, good question. Would you rather us sign a few more players, just a few, no millions, but just a few, or use the younger boys more often? Question mark, discuss. And then the second one, as a follow-up, which is from Andy Dixon, more of a statement than a question, but I get what he's getting at, which is young players get more time from the fans compared to a signing. So a couple of points that have been made. But in reference to Connor Slavin's question, my personal opinion is, genuinely, I would prefer the young boys get played more, because that's the kind of thing that we all want, like another Aaron Hickey to make money for us or whatever, or even just to come in and be brilliant for a season. We don't see enough of that. We've tried the whole route of signing loads of players and half of them being dog shite. So go with the younger boys for me.
I agree. Tam?
Just the only thing I would back that way, I don't know if you've seen the day, but Nielsen came out and said he's looking to loan a few out again. He was talking about Smith, he was talking about Denham. He wants a squad of, 22 to 24 people. I just have my worries that we won't see as many as we hope to see, and we'll probably get another couple of bodies in, as was discussed last week. But we just, with him coming out and making that statement, you'll probably see some of these guys go on loan.
But if you look at the amount of young players that we've got that can go out on loan, then there's quite a few of them. So there's at least 6 or 7 that are sitting there waiting in the wings that maybe are too young, that maybe can't really, well, I don't want to say they can't cut it at Premier League level, but like Darge, Leo Watson, they're probably just a bit too juvenile. These kind of guys probably do need to go out on loan, toughen themselves up a wee bit.
I would agree with that, but I suppose what happened last season, half of our youngsters went on loan, and I don't think any of them played more than 20 games the whole season, so that's what concerns me.
There was a lot.
Harry Stone, just to jump in, was the only person that actually played more than 10 games last season on loan. Everybody else was just a handful of games. But then you have to remember that the lower leagues were curtailed, basically, weren't they? They only played a handful of things, but Kev, what were you going to say?
It was effectively just that the whole season for those lads that went to League 2, League 1, their whole season was effectively curtailed, as you rightly say, Corbett. The other one is in regards to this came through this time last year was Shanks' favourite player, the boy McGill. I don't even know, did he get I know he was in the squad for Saturday's game against Sunderland, but did he get a run out? Shanks,
yeah,
did you catch up with him on Saturday night just to find out?
Robbie actually
did he text you?
Robbie actually shouted him out, didn't he? Said that
Yeah.
he played very well when he came on Sunday, which is almost the death tick that he's definitely going out on loan because he's not gonna play. Shanks, what were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, look, I was also on the bandwagon for the last 12 months calling out Nielsen for not playing up until the last few games. I think a single minute of competitive football for any of the under 20s or whatever it was.
Yep.
That was then. We can't try and right the wrongs of last season. Last season for me was the opportunity to blood the youth and bring them through. That's great, but let's not try and do that too much now. We're in a tougher league. We're in a completely different environment. We need to go in there and try and get a little bit more quality in the market for me. And if there's opportunities to bring these boys through, if we get injuries, that's great. We'll do that. But we can't go all out now and say we've got 6 or 7 boys in the wings and we want to see them every week. It's just not realistic in the league that we're in this year.
Aye, but I think
Did Shanks make a valid point there?
he made a valid point. Well done, Shanks.
Jesus Christ!
But I
Someone
think-
write that down. That happened in July 2021.
The counterpoint to that is that we've just got to be more sensible, which is what I think Savage was talking about last week. Is that you can have a squad. At one point, we had a squad of nearly 38 first-team players. Crazy. 3 starting 11s and a couple of subs. So you're someone like Jamie Brandon, for example, right? And it's an example because he was the first name that came to my head. I'm not saying that he should have been playing or whatever, but there was a point where Jamie Brandon had Mikey Smith in front of him, plus Shea Logan, plus Ben Garuccio, or like, do you know what I mean? Like just random guys that were brought in, and he's sitting there thinking, Mikey Smith's injured, so I move up a place, and then Shea Logan comes in and thinks, well, actually, now I'm 4th choice to the 2nd choice right back, so where am I going? And it's those bloodlines to the first team that get clogged up with the nonsense that we've seen with it, like Craig had mentioned earlier validly, that the transfer windows we just scattergunned. One transfer window we signed 18 players. Absolutely mental. That's nuts. I think do we still have something like? Do we still have 5 goalkeepers? Does Colin Doyle and Bobby still play with Hearts?
No,
Nah, they've
they've
gone.
both been
thankfully.
released.
Right. Good. Well, there we go. So, but I think that's a valid point that Connor's made, is that I think you should have your starting 11, and then you should have quality cover for your key positions, and everybody else should be made up by youth guys that can come in. Because look at Finlay Pollock. He's played 3 games. He's 17. You know, Ando, you were saying there about there's young guys that are maybe just too young. Well, Cochrane made his debut and looked not out of place. Anthony McDonald made his debut, didn't look out of place. Finlay Pollock, all these guys, do you know what I mean?
I agree with you in a sense that you know what, 1 or 2 is fine, but you can't have 6 or 7 of them in the course of one season. I don't think that's sustainable or doable. But having Harry Cochrane come on, bag that winner against Celtic when he was, I think, one of the youngest players on the park at that point when he done that. 1 or 2 of them is absolutely fine. I don't think 7, 8, 9, 10 of them is doable.
Yeah, and also as well, you've got to look at it from, like we said, for the young boys' perspective. Those young guys will be absolutely buzzing seeing Finlay Pollock get a game, because it's a great sign for them. Do you know what I mean? Thinking, brilliant, like he's got a game, he's playing, because in years gone by, like we've said, they'll have watched Lewis Moore leave for free, Andy Irving go to Bundesliga free, like all the players that they've come up with and thought he's a good player, and then being like, he kind of get a game, and also he just left for nothing. So it's a good sign. And for me, Robbie, if you're watching, you've got to keep him in and around the squad. You've got to. He'll learn more for me coming on and playing 10 minutes in the Premier League than he'll ever learn sitting on the bench playing with joiners in the Vida League. I just don't. I know what people say. Name me a Hearts player in the past decade that's went out on loan and it's worked. He's come back to Hearts and been a player. Craig Gordon, Ryan McGowan, potentially the last players off the top of my head that I can think of went on loan, came back and made a difference to Hearts.
Probably the only ones.
Craig,
Where is Cochrane now? Do you know?
Don't think he's got a team yet.
Harry Cochrane. Let me check.
Oh no, or Broth or something, was it not? Or Montrose or something he signed for.
Was it not Queen's Park? Am I right in someone?
We're just pulling it. Oh,
No.
yeah.
I'm sure one of our old wee players. No, it's not Harry Cochrane. Somebody went to Queen's Park and I can't think who it was. It's not Harry Cochrane. I'll shut up. Move on.
Well, let's wrap it up for the actual match. That was pretty much it, wasn't it? It was overall wasn't the best. Job done. We're through to the next round. What's the last game at home? To Inverness on, is it Saturday? So Sunday. Well, let's have a laugh. Let's talk about why we only allowed 3,000 fans. There will be 17,000 at Ibrox on Sunday. There will be 5,000 or just below 5,000 at Pittodrie on Thursday and 5,000 at Easter Road on Thursday. But Hearts are only allowed 3,100. Anybody want to take a stab at that? Stab in the dark? How that makes any sense?
It doesn't make any sense.
That's how it's been decided. A stab in the dark.
Aye. What they've done is they've taken a can of spaghetti, thrown it against a fucking tiled wall, and said, "Oh, that's what the numbers look like." You may as well read tea leaves. A lot of fucking shit.
It'll probably be something to do with traffic wardens because the cunts are always responsible for stuff.
Okay.
There's not enough traffic wardens.
I was going to come to you anyway, Shanks, and say, "Are you getting it today with politics? Because this has got you written on it."
It's actually funny.
I've actually got a degree in politics, so write that down. Funnily enough, and there's a few boys that'll connect with this further group chats that we've been chatting about already. Is apparently there's a ballot tomorrow to see who's going to get tickets for the Inverness game. But I know of me and others who the money's already come out of our account tonight, which I'm hoping means that we've got tickets. So breaking. That was where I was going next. That was going to be my next point. Is that there does seem to be quite a strange thing where people have managed to have 2 tickets, so one for Cove and one for Cali, whilst others have had none, which I find a bit. Find a bit strange, which is quite strange. But what's your thoughts for as well? Cali, this will be our last game before we play Celtic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're going to be strongest 11. Got to go for it. Think we'll get some new faces in between now and then, or do you think it's going to be between now before the Celtic game? Probably for new guys coming in.
Well,
probably one. I can see one coming in before the Celtic game. And then you might get another one before the end of. I don't even know when's the window shut, end of August? Or is there a date in it? You know, it's always written about that. So, aye, but if you think about it from that point of view, we're only at we just coming on. What were the 20th of July the day? So there's still 6 or 7 weeks left of the transfer window, which is actually quite a long period of time, really.
Aye. Anyway, transfer window shite and the League Cup shite. Let's round that off. That was fine. Cool. Hearts are through. Move on. There we go. Craig, since we've got you on, might as well talk about what's your thoughts and feelings for the season. How do you think the season will go? Kev, you lent him your Wi-Fi.
Oh no, he's back.
It's going.
I'm back. Sorry.
You're all right.
I'd like to think we'll make top 6 even with the limited changes to the squad. I think there's still, as much as we weren't great last season, we won the league at a canter, really. And I'd like to think we have the quality that we're better than 6 of the teams that are in that league, because I know St Johnstone won the double, but even looking at them, I think really, as Hearts should be looking above them and other teams sort of around about that. But I still do think, going back to talking about the transfer window and stuff, I know there's 6 or 7 weeks left to go, but I would have liked business to be done before the Celtic game, and you've got your squad set for the season. I know things always happen late, but personally I'd prefer your squad's ready, done before the season starts, and you don't have to worry about all these last minute deals that I know Hearts have done in the past. So I don't want to be too pessimistic or optimistic, but I think if we can get off to a good start, I know we've got a difficult start in terms of fixtures, but if we can start well, I think top 6. You don't want to be too ambitious on the first season back, but at the same time, if we can get a European place, then
there you go. That's what we wanted to hear. You were getting there. That's what you wanted.
all right.
Yeah.
I think we'll finish second because Celtic are terrible. So
That's
there
it.
you go.
That's the kind of chat we want, Craig.
Come on, two more signings and we'll win the league. Come on, you can say it.
I sent a centre back and a centre midfielder, and we'll win the league by December again.
Yeah.
Aye, Champions League music, tiny. Aye, easy. Aye, no, you're right. It's valid. I think that's what was kind of we went in sort of. That was my fighting talk for Savage when we were going, was I was going to be like, right, if he starts hitting out with that finished top six patter, I'm going to bitch slap him and I'm going to give him all this, that, and the other. And then, the first thing I said when he talked about it was like, no, I'm here, I want to win leagues. And I'm like, yeah. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. I don't know here to play top six, because then you actually start looking at the things that you say, right, well, if we finish top six, or if we're only aiming for top six, that means that we're saying that we're better than Dundee United, Livy, Ross County, Hamilton if they're still in the league. Like the shite, you know what I mean? Then you think to yourself, well, actually, look at the top four from last year. Right? Well, Celtic Rangers fine. Hibs, Aberdeen, I think will be ganting this year. Motherwell have been shite. St Johnstone are all right, but they'll probably lose loads of players. So you think, well, it's got to be top four. You've got to be thinking that we're looking for a wee top four. So, aye, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And just on a personal level, Craig, how are you getting on? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm all right. Been going through this for 5-6 months now, and just keep it on going and feeling good now. Start wasn't good, but now I'm feeling good again, and just got to keep going with it really and hope for the best. So
good. Well, we're all
fingers crossed, and
hoping for the best.
That's all depressed me, but there you go.
Well, you can be positive that Hearts will depress you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's absolutely one constant in life, isn't it? Do you manage to get to any of the games?
Sorry?
You manage to get to any of the games?
I'm hoping. I've kind of been. So I'd not, to try and cut a long story short, I'd actually live in Jersey, so I'm only moved back to Edinburgh recently to continue my treatment here. So I was thinking of getting a season ticket, because now it's only if these stupid things continue, like you're talking before, the 3,000. I mean, I don't think they've given a reason behind that, and 5,000 Easter Road. So if that's going to be the case, I think I'll just have to buy one, and if I leave, someone else can take it. And then just try for the balance, I think. So it would be good to get back. So
the positive thing is that I think Rangers and Celtic have said that they expect a full house pretty much by the end of August. So you know what happens. The Rangers are saying that they're going to have a full house for the Champions League qualifier. So you know what happens when they start to make noise and all that sort of stuff. If it happens, it'll happen. Hopefully for us as well. So you're hoping that you get to a few games in that. Should be decent. Right, boys. Ando, anything in the comments answers that we need to go through?
I'll be honest. I've completely not paid attention for the last 5 minutes. We've had. There's loads of witty comments from Graham Duffy, Connor Slavin, Andy Dixon, Amoroso, Let's It Run, all the usual guys. Sorry, I've been too engrossed in the conversation to actually keep an eye on it, so I do apologise. Listen, I'm just back off my holidays, alright? These will get far sharper as the season goes on, but thanks to everyone that's contributed. We make no apologies for the fact that we can't read out every single comment, but that's really for you guys. The whole point of the live chat is for you guys to argue with each other, and I try and pick out the best ones, or anyone that comes after Shanks or Tam. Really, that's the whole point of it. But thanks for your contribution, guys. It is appreciated.
And podcast-wise, we'll probably do a live reaction to the game on Sunday, and then when the season starts, we'll do our usual podcast every week. But there's nothing really to talk about. We're thinking, we'll do a podcast this week. What do we talk about? We've not signed any players, and we're as well just doing live reactions and stuff. So when the season kicks off, we'll go back to our normal schedule of record on a Tuesday, podcast out by Thursday, Friday type thing. You'll have seen on Twitter some of our tweets. We may well have a special guest coming on to the pod pretty soon.
Mhm.
So we will keep you posted as who and when that materialises. But aye, that's pretty much it. Craig, I just wanted to say personally, thanks for joining us. If you're ever bored and sick of the sight of those four walls in that hospital and want to join us again, absolutely feel free to, man. Just tweet us, get involved, man.
Yeah.
Been great for joining us, man. Thank you.
Yeah, be delighted. And thanks for having me on.
No bother at all, lad.
Very fun.
Good.
Absolutely, all the
Aye,
best.
and boys, all the best as well, my man.
Yeah.
Anytime when you're in or out, if you get to go to a game, we'll definitely meet up or something. We can go to the game and stuff, man.
Good.
And then other boys, thanks for joining us as always, and we will see you all on the next one.
Catch ya.
Cheers.
God, see you later.